Hi guys, it's Rob for the Exit Light channel, and it's the 31 days of Halloween, and today I am going to be talking about the first Scottish serial killer. This gentleman's, well, I shouldn't really call him gentleman, should I? This guy was called Peter Emanuel. He was born to Scottish parents in New York City on the 13th of March 1927. He moved to Detroit, Michigan, before migrating back to Scotland with his parents in 1932, when Peter was about 5 or 6, to Berkshire, Lanarkshire. During his childhood, Peter was bullied, and by the age of 10, he was known to local police as a petty thief. At the age of 16, he had committed a string of sexual assaults that resulted in him serving a 9-year prison sentence in Peterhead Prison. In 1955, he successfully conducted his own defence on a rape charge at Airdrie Sheriff's Court. They call them Sheriff's Courts in Scotland. They still do to this day, I think. Peter was convicted in 1958 of the murders of 7 people. Right, there's some confusion because they think some of the murders might have been committed in England. And also, the police think that he could have murdered up to 6 or 7 more people, but they just couldn't prove it. They didn't have enough evidence. So I'm going to go through the list now. The first was, she was only 17. Anne Killands, I think you pronounce her surname, Knillands. Could be Nillans. She was 17, she was a baby. And the next was a family. It was Marion Watts, aged 45, Vivian Watts, aged 16, and I think it was a sister-in-law, Margaret Brown, who was 41. So Vivian was only 16. She was younger than Anne. It's terrible. Well, it's all terrible, but anyway, the next was a man called Sidney Dunn. He was 36 years old. And the next lady, well, she was a barely a lady, she was only 17, Isabel Cook. Then he murdered a family, Peter Smart, 45, Doris Smart, 42, and Michael Smart, 10 years old. And this is the family that got him caught, because Peter would draw out some £5 notes, brand new £5 notes, at New Year's to celebrate Hogmanay, which is really big in Scotland. I know it's all around the world, but in Scotland, Hogmanay on New Year's Eve is immense. It's crazy. Anyway, he was spending. Peter was going around the local pubs using these £5 notes that he had stolen when he killed this family. But it was weird because he even fed the cat, and he spent some time with the bodies in the house. He didn't kill them and just leave. He did this. It was a sort of a running thing with all of the victims. He would spend time, have a meal sometimes, and then spend a couple of days there, and then go, which is weird. Now, when he was in court, he actually sacked his legal team, and he conducted his own defence, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, what's the guy in America, the serial killer, the really clever guy? Ted Bundy. I mean, Ted Bundy was, I think he was a lawyer, actually, or trained to be a lawyer. He conducted his own defence. Well, Mr. Peter was as successful as Ted Bundy, because he got hung in Barlinnie Gallows in December 1960, and so his defence didn't go very well at all. And it wasn't. He was convicted in 1958, and he was hung in 1960. So okay, that's a terrible tale, horrible tale, and it was despicable, the crimes that he committed against these people. Some of them even only children. Now, as I was reading through this, and I was looking at the beginning part, where he was moved around from Scotland, from America, from New York to Detroit, Michigan, and then obviously he came back to Scotland and stuff like that. I didn't find any sort of history of how he was brought up and what kind of an upbringing he had. But this is the question I want to pose people: nature versus nurture. You know, this kid was bullied at school. Could that have had an impact on his decisions of what he was doing and what he wasn't doing and the crimes that he was committing? Or, you know, nature versus nurture. I'll leave it with you and let you decide what you think. But I think some people are just born bad. That might be a little bit of a sweeping statement, but I do tend to think that plenty of people have difficult upbringings and difficult childhoods, and they don't turn around and start murdering people and raping people and doing horrible things like that. So anyway, guys, I'll leave that with you. I hope you're having a wonderful 31 days of Halloween. God bless, and I will see you on the next one. You take care of yourselves.